Okay, so if you're getting ready for the SAT, you already know the deal. This test isn't just about what you know, it's a straight up battle against the clock. It's all about how you perform under pressure, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
You know, every single student who takes this test runs into this exact problem. You can literally feel the seconds ticking away, and you've got to make a choice. Do you just floor it and hope you don't make any of those tiny killer mistakes? Or do you play it safe, double-checking everything, only to look up and realize you have 10 questions left with only a minute on the clock? It honestly feels like a no-win situation.
But what if I told you there's a way out of that trap? Well, there is. There's a strategy that the highest scorers use, and it's called the metronome mindset. And trust me, it's designed to turn your pacing from a total source of panic into your biggest advantage.
So what is the SAT metronome, really? It's not about being fast, and it's not about being slow. Think of it like a mental rhythm, an internal clock that guides you through the entire test. The whole goal is to be consistent and to stay in control so you're making smart choices that get you the most points possible.
So here's how it actually works in practice. You start with this steady tick-tock pace for the easier questions. This builds your momentum and banks using precious time. Then, when you hit a tough question, you don't freeze up. Instead, you learn how to skip it without panicking, knowing you'll come back. See, top scorers don't see the test as a straight line you have to run. They see it as a puzzle, and they solve it in the smartest order.
Now, of course, any good metronome can change its speed, right? The real secret here isn't just having a rhythm, it's knowing when to adjust it. It's all about building that gut feeling for when you should push ahead and when you need to just take a breath and slow it down. And that really brings us to the two modes you'll be switching between, speed mode and accuracy mode. Speed is your best friend on those simple, pattern-based questions you've seen 100 times. But accuracy is king when you're facing those dense, multi-step problems. And hey, if you feel your confidence starting to shake, slowing down to lock in a correct answer isn't just about points. It's about getting your head back in the game. And here's the bottom line, the most important takeaway. Never ever sacrifice a point you know you can get for the chance of answering more questions. On those really critical, tough questions, spending an extra 30 seconds is the smartest investment you can make. One correct answer is worth infinitely more than 3 rushed guesses.
All right, so we've talked about the what and the when. Let's get into the how. Let's build this thing into a real, practical process that you can actually use on test day. So, how do you actually build this internal metronome? Well, it breaks down into 4 simple steps. First, you've got to get really good at looking at a question and instantly knowing, is this easy, medium, or hard? Second, you need to have mental time checkpoints, so you always know if you're on pace. Third, learn to skim with a purpose. You're not just reading faster, you're hunting for the key information. And finally, number 4, all of this comes from one thing, practice. The more patterns you recognize, the faster and more accurate you'll become.
Now, as you're practicing, you have to watch out for these, let's call them rhythm killers. The biggest one, overthinking an easy question. We've all done it. You waste time, you doubt yourself, it's just bad news. The flip side is rushing a hard question and making a careless mistake. And finally, don't ignore being tired. If you feel your focus breaking, just stop. Take 5 seconds, breathe, and reset. Trying to power through when you're exhausted is just asking for errors. You know, avoiding those traps isn't just about tactics. It's about leveling up from a simple strategy to a complete performance mindset. And a perfect example of this mindset in action is a little pro trick called the two-pass method. Seriously, the highest scoring students use this to make sure they never, ever leave easy points on the table just because they ran out of time. Here's how simple it is. On your first pass through a section, you only answer the questions you can solve immediately, the gimmies. Anything that looks medium or hard, you mark it and you move on. This gets all the easy points in the bank right away. Then, use all that time you have left for your second pass, where you go back and attack those tougher, marked questions with total, calm focus. It completely changes the game from panic to pure problem solving.
So, what does it all take to pull this off? Well, it takes staying calm, even when that clock is staring you down. It takes the kind of confidence that only comes from practice so you can make those quick decisions. And you know what? It takes trusting your gut. When you see a pattern you know you've seen before, you just have to trust that your brain has done the work and let it guide you. Because at the end of the day, you have to get this idea out of your head that the SAT is a test of how smart you are. It's not. It's a performance. It's a test of how well you can execute a strategy when you're under pressure. And on test day, I promise you, controlled execution will beat raw brain power every single time. So, I'm just going to leave you with this one question. When you sit down for that test, are you going to be reacting to it, just hoping you get lucky with the timing? Or are you going to be the one in control with a rhythm and a strategy that makes sure your score is a true reflection of all the hard work you put in? The choice is all yours.